Picture this. You're 28 years old, sitting in a bar with people your age, and you feel like you're watching children play. Everyone's laughing at things that stopped being funny to you years ago. They're excited about drama that feels exhausting just to witness. You leave early again with that familiar weight in your chest. That question that keeps circling back. What's wrong with me? Why can't I just be normal and enjoy this? Nothing is wrong with you, but something happened to your psychology that nobody warned you about. You aged out of your generation while your body stayed the same. Society tells you maturity is a virtue, that growing up fast makes you stronger, that being the responsible one is admirable. But they never mention the isolation that comes with it, the curse hiding behind the compliment. Your brain developed emotional regulation and perspective early before your peers. Maybe you had to. Family chaos, early responsibility, trauma that forced you to become an adult when you were still supposed to be a kid. Your prefrontal cortex went into overdrive while everyone else got to stay in the playground. Or maybe you just naturally processed life differently. Either way, the result is the same. You're out of sync with everyone around you, and the gap keeps widening. Here's what actually happens when you mature too fast. Your values shift, your priorities reorganize, your tolerance for superficiality drops to near zero. While your peers are still figuring out who they are, you've already built a framework for understanding yourself and the world. Meet Lauren, who spent her teenage years raising her younger siblings while her parents worked multiple jobs. By 16, she was handling household budgets, making dinner, helping with homework. Her friends were worried about prom dates and Instagram followers. At 25, Lauren can't relate to her coworkers who complain about their parents asking them to do laundry. She finds their problems trivial, their conversations shallow. They sense her judgment, even though she never voices it. The distance grows without anyone understanding why. Your brain chemistry literally changed. The neural pathways associated with long-term thinking, consequence evaluation, and emotional management strengthened early. You developed what psychologists call future orientation, while others remained present-focused.
This makes you incompatible with the social scripts of your age group. When everyone's living for the weekend, you're thinking about building something sustainable. When they're chasing excitement, you're seeking meaning. Different operating systems trying to run the same program. The psychology of attraction works against you here. People bond over shared developmental stages, the chaos of figuring life out together, the excitement of making mistakes simultaneously, the comfort of mutual confusion. You already passed through those stages. You're speaking a different emotional language. Think about Jason, who became financially independent at 19, working full-time while his college friends partied on their parents' money. He learned to delay gratification, to sacrifice immediate pleasure for future stability. His mindset shifted permanently. Now at 30, Jason can't date women his age who still expect men to finance their lifestyles while they find themselves. His maturity makes him seem boring to them, judgmental, too serious. Their lack of accountability makes him feel like he's babysitting. Nobody wins. The relationship dynamics become impossible. You need depth. They want lightness. You value growth. They prefer comfort. You communicate directly. They play games. Every interaction feels like you're translating between languages, and the exhaustion is constant. Your habits reflect your maturity level. You probably have routines, boundaries, standards that took years to develop. You know what you will and won't tolerate because you've already been through enough to understand your limits. This clarity intimidates people still figuring themselves out. Emma stopped going to happy hours because watching her colleagues get drunk and complain about the same problems week after week without doing anything to change them made her lose respect for them. She tried to offer solutions once. They didn't want solutions. They wanted permission to stay stuck. So Emma stayed home, worked on her side business, invested in herself. Her coworkers started calling her antisocial, stuck up, too good for them. She wasn't. She was just operating from a different stage of development that they interpreted as rejection. Here's the brutal truth. Emotional maturity often comes from pain. You didn't choose to grow up fast. Life forced you to develop coping mechanisms, perspective, resilience that others your age haven't needed yet. You paid for your maturity with experiences you'd rather not have had. That pain created wisdom, but wisdom without peers who understand it becomes isolation. You see through manipulation that others fall for. You spot red flags that others ignore. You understand consequences that others haven't considered, and all of it separates you further.
The psychology of communication breaks down when maturity levels don't match. You're trying to have conversations about purpose and growth while they're still focused on validation and belonging. Different needs, different stages, incompatible frequencies. Marcus tried explaining to his girlfriend why he couldn't just live in the moment and stop planning everything. She wanted spontaneity, adventure, surprises. He wanted stability, security, peace, both valid, but fundamentally incompatible because they were at different life stages despite being the same age. She eventually left him for someone more fun. Translation? Someone at her maturity level who hadn't yet learned that constant chaos isn't sustainable. Marcus felt relieved more than heartbroken. The relationship had been exhausting, like parenting someone who was supposed to be his partner. Your confidence comes from a different source than most people's. Theirs comes from external validation, likes, compliments, fitting in. Yours comes from surviving things that would have broken others, from building yourself up without waiting for permission or approval. This creates an attraction problem. Confident maturity can look like arrogance to people who haven't earned their own yet. Your self-assurance threatens their insecurity. Your standards make them feel judged. Your boundaries make them feel rejected. So they label you difficult, cold, too picky, too serious. Anything to avoid confronting the fact that you've done the internal work they're still avoiding. Their discomfort with your growth becomes your problem.
The loneliness of advanced maturity is specific and sharp. You're surrounded by people, technically your peers, but you have nothing in common with them emotionally or psychologically. You're the designated adult in every group, the one people come to for advice, but never think to check on you. Christina became the therapist friend by 23. Everyone called her when they had problems, valued her perspective, relied on her stability. But when she was struggling, Radio silence. Nobody knew how to hold space for someone who always seemed to have it together. Her brain had learned to process and regulate emotions so efficiently that people assumed she didn't need support. The curse of competence. Your maturity makes you invisible when you're the one who needs help. Here's what the self-help industry won't tell you. Sometimes you can't find your people because they don't exist in your age bracket anymore. Your emotional and psychological age doesn't match your biological age. You're searching in the wrong demographic.
Your actual peers might be 10 years older, or they might be scattered across the world, equally isolated, equally confused about why they don't fit. The community you need isn't defined by birth year, it's defined by life experience and psychological development. This realization is both liberating and terrifying. Liberating because you can stop trying to force connection with people who aren't actually your peers. Terrifying because finding your real community becomes exponentially harder. The psychology of maturity includes understanding that some seasons of life are meant to be lonely, not because you're broken, but because you're between chapters. You've outgrown one community and haven't yet found the next. The gap is real, and pretending it isn't makes it worse. Daniel spent 3 years thinking something was fundamentally wrong with him because he couldn't maintain friendships with people he'd known since college. Every hangout felt forced, every conversation superficial. He kept trying because he thought he was supposed to. When he finally stopped forcing it, the relief was immediate. Then came the loneliness. Then came the clarity. He wasn't losing friends. He was acknowledging that they'd never been aligned in the first place. Shared history doesn't equal shared values. Your thinking patterns have evolved past the point where small talk feels like connection. You need conversations that matter, relationships that challenge you, people who've also done the work. Everything else feels like wasting time you don't have to waste. The confidence to be alone rather than accept surface-level connection is its own form of maturity. Most people can't do it. They'd rather have shallow company than face themselves in solitude. You've already faced yourself. You know the depth isn't the problem. But here's where it gets complicated. Your maturity can become a defense mechanism. Your standards can become a wall. Your discernment can become judgment. The line between healthy boundaries and emotional unavailability is thinner than you think. Alexis realized she'd been using her maturity as armor. Every time someone showed interest, she'd find reasons they weren't mature enough for her. She wasn't wrong about the incompatibility, but she was also afraid of being vulnerable with someone who might actually see her. Because underneath the maturity is often the wounded kid who had to grow up too fast, the one who never got to be messy, uncertain, imperfect, the one who learned that being needed was safer than needing. Your psychology is protecting old wounds by maintaining impossible standards.
The path forward isn't lowering your standards. It's understanding the difference between genuine incompatibility and self-protection, between healthy boundaries and walls built from fear. Your maturity is real, but it might also be hiding something. Real emotional maturity includes the ability to be selective without being closed, to have standards without being rigid, to recognize that someone can be at a different life stage and still offer genuine connection if you're both willing to meet in the middle. But most people aren't willing, and that's okay. Your job isn't to force compatibility where none exists. Your job is to remain open to the rare person who matches your frequency while not compromising yourself for those who don't. The curse of being too mature is that you can see this clearly. You understand the psychological mechanisms at play, you recognize your patterns and everyone else's, and sometimes that awareness makes it harder, not easier, because you can't unsee what you know. You can't go back to ignorant connection, you can't pretend shallow conversations fulfill you, you can't lower your emotional intelligence to match others' comfort levels. The door only opens one way, and you've already walked through. So what do you do with this awareness? You stop apologizing for your maturity. You stop trying to diminish yourself so others feel comfortable. You stop searching for your people in places they're unlikely to be. You build a life so full of purpose and meaning that other people become optional rather than necessary. Not because you don't want connection, but because you refuse to accept substitutes for the real thing. Your maturity is both gift and burden. It gave you wisdom, but cost you belonging. It made you resilient, but left you isolated. It's the price of growth that nobody warned you about, and complaining doesn't change it. The people who match you exist, but they're rare. And finding them requires patience you've probably exhausted. The wait is long, the loneliness is real, and the temptation to settle is constant. Your strength is in refusing to. You didn't choose to mature too fast, but you can choose what to do with it. Let it isolate you completely, or let it guide you toward the depth you actually need, even if it takes longer to find than you hoped.